As you can see, I'm just on audio this month since I'm traveling, and it is just that much more convenient time-wise and whatnot. But it's not me on the camera, of course. It is the message that's important, right? Listen, this month, the planets are traveling here in a very close spectrum. So what you are going to be seeing this month is two windows that are really going to be opening up for you. One has to do with long distance travel, higher education, those things that really engage your philosophical mind, research and so forth. It's that ninth house. But then it is your career. This month, the Sun, Mercury, New Moon, and Jupiter, they're there. We got all those personal planets in just these two areas. So what is that going to do for you, Capricorn? Well, it's going to intensify your experience in these areas. The other areas are pretty much quiet. The outer planets are more in the backdrop of the scenario and kind of doing their thing. But it's always the personal planets that are showing action, right? So let's start with Venus and Mars, because why? They're traveling hand in hand right now as we start off the month, which is beautiful. Of course, that always indicates some love and romance, right? But it's also the dedication, the desire of what it is you're aiming at. And I feel since they're in the sign of Virgo's always good about analytical things. Great time for you to study. Get on board as far as taking any kind of courses. I feel you could have a great time doing that with a lot of enjoyment as well. Now, Virgo also tends to organize, so you might be organizing certain things, putting up a new structure. In that case, you should be very successful in doing so. And as far as your career, well, it's time to communicate with your supervisor, your boss, or going for an interview, changing things up, maybe even getting perhaps a new project up and running. Mercury communicates in such a very wonderful way, and it's in the sign of Libra, so you're tempering it with balance, right? Very much so. I'd also like to say that there is diplomacy taking place, okay? So you're going to be diplomatic at what is going on here around you. But I love it, though, because it really gives you the in to actually start upping your game and pay attention to whatever opportunities might be sailing your way. We got that new moon not before October 19th, but in this area, it's really sparking. It's lighting it up here for the next 12 months until the new moon will show itself here again. So, of course, that is where you want to put your intentions, right? That career is important, that you really want it to harmonize, that the working environment is great, that the money is great, because, of course, this is in the sign of Libra, which is ruled by Venus. So you're kind of looking at what you're getting. Is the money satisfactory? Is it balancing well? Jupiter has been really working for you, on your side, supporting you over this last year, and Jupiter is coming to its latest degrees. They're at 28 degrees right now, so it's kind of wrapping up things for you and won't be back for another 12 years. So make the most out of it here in October, best you can, just to see how Jupiter can really give you a gift, a little kiss here at the end of its transit, and then it will be moving on into Scorpio, where that is your 11th house, Capricorn. So hopes and dreams is what's coming up next. It's also networking, your circle of friends, new friends, groups, organizations, and whatnot. That's not here quite yet. Your focus is all on career this month, and all of that, what we were talking about as far as Venus, Mars, well, they might be researching, preparing for what is going to come a little bit later in the month, when both of them will be joining into your 10th house, into the career field. So then we have all of them activated. So you have until the 15th of October to really prepare for what it is you want to do to refine your skills, whatever. If you're thinking about applying anything into your career, you can up your game by researching, studying, and then Mars will follow suit on October 23rd. All right, so for the first half of the month at least, you can have a time here and a chance to up your game. Now, the ninth house also, for those of you Capricorns that are, say, for example, working on a lawsuit or whatnot, this would also be a time where you can get some good news, where You're moving forward here in a great way, getting support for what it is you need. And that goes also for those of you looking for a green card or a visa. Ninth house is long distance travel, but it is also anything of legal matters and so forth. So having these two traveling together will definitely put you on the mark. What I really love, though, is Mars's aspect to Pluto as we start off the month on the 1st. When Mars and Pluto get together, what do we always say? We say Mars is dynamite, Pluto is nuclear, right? You can move mountains. This is a day of passion. This is a day where you can cut through. Pluto in your 1st house, that's your personality, okay? Your energy, the empowerment that you have been growing over these last years as Pluto has been transiting in your 1st house. Well, Mars right now is going to trigger it. So absolutely, this could be a day where you can sense that you get a green light on something that's super important to you. Venus is going to follow suit on the 3rd of October, also now trining Pluto. So that is love, it's passion. Both Venus and Pluto are passion, and especially with the Pluto there, right? So I could see how you feel super empowered, joyful, and especially anything written documents, say publishing or anything from the government, or if you're taking some kind of a test, it is good. You are situating yourself in a transformative way with that Pluto signature. On the 5th, Venus and Mars, they're coming in to a conjunction. That means that they're hand in hand. This is a day for you guys who are in your relationship where you can feel it can be extra romantic. For those of you single, well, you know, you don't want to sit at home. You can definitely come to cross paths with somebody who can become a wonderful, significant other. And especially if you're out and about traveling, you can come to meet somebody very special and important that might be living, you know, out of town, out of state, whatever the deal. So somebody could be passing through where you live, right? Like passing ships, but that doesn't mean you can't stay connected. So we can see this first week of October extremely empowering. It's beautiful. We got action, things coming together. We love, love, love it. And then the universe is going to test us. And that is upon our value systems, okay? Because Saturn now will be squaring that Venus. Saturn's your 12th house, so it's kind of operating behind the veil, so to speak. So it could be a karmic situation, perhaps. It will be testing more so how we look at love, perhaps, and romance. So it could be a situation there, but it also could be something financial. Maybe there might be a fee. Maybe you're going to have to deal with something there. Now, Mercury will square up against Pluto, and so will the Sun on the 9th. What does that mean? Well, since Mercury and the Sun both are in your 10th house for career, well, then we're needing to look at where are we going from here? What is it we want? Do we really want this? You know, we were talking about career really being highlight this month, and it is, right? It can be a game changer, but you're going to have to speak up. Capricorn, since it's squaring off on Pluto, there might be those things, and remember we were saying that you're quite diplomatic too, but you're also going to be pinpointing those things which you might not be too happy for in your career. This would be the time to bring it out. Maybe you have a review where you can discuss these matters, but then I'd say recall, though, to put in the positives, right? How do you want to refine it? Don't just pick on what doesn't work. Really paint the painting on the wall and let them know how you see you can actually improve your work environment if such and such could take place, if they can open a certain door for you or whatnot. It could become a little bit of a strain, I have to admit, and this is because Mars, which is your dynamic energy, it's your focus, it's you moving forward, right? It is squaring up on that Saturn too. Just like Venus did on the 8th, here on the 11th, Mars is following suit. And so you might have to be addressing something that could be a little tough, perhaps. Maybe you have to stand your grounds and point out your direction, what works and what doesn't work. Saturn C could be, it's like the government, right? So of course it could be a government thing, but it's also what or who governs us. But ultimately we govern us, right? So it's more, how do we want to delegate and work with this situation? And it has to do with something that you feel has to do with justice, because it's the 9th house, right? And Saturn is just needing to put something karmically square. Now, since Mars and Saturn are involved, it could be also coming from a male person around you. Or if you are a male, well, then it could be you having to do this. But once we're beyond the 11th, I feel on the 15th, you have released that situation or solved it, and you're good to go. I feel you're liberating and freeing from that week of stress, but sometimes we need that. You know, when stress appears, it doesn't always have to be negative. What it shows is that we are active. We're needing to be active. We're needing to be focused on a certain situation so we can clear it up, and it's only going to take a few days, but then we're set, good to go for a while, which is great. So on the 16th, I feel that you're thinking, okay, I got a grip. I got my control back. This is the sun. Now with Saturn, that very Saturn that was hard at work, right, at straightening up things, and the sun is you. So I feel you're pretty happy with that. Venus now has moved into your career house, so that's bringing in some peace and harmony on the 15th there. So you're good to go. On the 24th, it's dream state time. Mercury, your way of thinking, right? Your mindset is beautifully trying to Neptune trying to bring in the ideal, hopes and dreams and so forth, right? Anything that is creative. And when we have this creativity coming in, it's in that area for you, the 11th house, which is hopes and dreams, right? And connecting to Neptune, which is all about vision and the ideal. Well, you can really get something going. You could really connect with either a friend on this day, or maybe it is a group that you'll be affiliating with that might be all geared to what you have to share, right? So you might be proposing a thought, a project, or it could be vice versa. But I see that this could really go somewhere, because it's also quite not just emotional, but I feel it's more like spiritual. It's more like feeling there's a synchronistic type energy going on. Capricorn, we got the luckiest day of the year coming up on the 24th. This is when the Sun and Jupiter meet up, and that only happens one day per year. And for you, you know, Jupiter is still in your 10th house. This is career, and that might just be this great gift that Jupiter can give before it disappears on us. So circle that in on your calendar. Jupiter expands, it's abundant, it's generous, it's happy-go-lucky, it's very optimistic, and so forth. So when the sun comes across here, I think you're going to love it. Just love, love, love it. So enjoy that day, because the following day on the 27th, we have Venus and Pluto squaring up on each other, and that's all those things that we believe in, our value system, okay? Venus rules how we feel about ourselves. It is what we believe in, but it's also ruling money and relationships and so forth. So there's going to be a little challenge coming up there. And this has to do between where you're aiming your goals, what it is you're wanting to achieve, and what you personally want to achieve. Pluto in that first house is all about you, and then here we go. You know, Venus is really up there. It's on the goal manifestation. It is in your 10th house for career, so there could be, I won't say necessarily a hiccup, but there could be a little testing going on, a little challenge. And I feel that you're going to stand really strong, because you have all the support of the other planets in this area, so you should do well. Now, this full moon, this month, October 5th, happens in your 4th house for home, family, your foundation, and so forth, real estate. It's 12 degrees in Aries, and so this is the area that's going to be illuminated for you, and it is coming up as opposed to your career. So on the 5th, it's like your home life, and on the opposite end, where the moon is illuminating, is your career. So those two things will really be on board for you. The new moon, on the other hand, is beautiful. It is 19th of October. And let me tell you, the new moon is always where we place our intentions, right? So you're placing your intentions for work, career, where you're heading, what you want to achieve. That's all the intentions that we should focus on. But it's beautiful, though, because even though we get a new moon a year in this area, next year and for the next 12 years, you won't have Jupiter it is conjunct Jupiter. So that is October 19th. Circle that on your calendar. Now, any planets you might have in your personal chart at 26 degrees will be affected by this. So we got two very, very lucky dates this month. That is when the Sun and Jupiter conjuncts on the 26th. It is also flanked here by the new moon and Jupiter. So fantastic. That is on the 19th and the 26th, the best days of the month. So listen, this is what I have for you, Capricorn, for the month of October. Thank you for watching, following, and sharing. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in November. Bye now.